This is the Coach Calhoun Show featuring Fairmont State University men's basketball head coach Jared Calhoun. The show is presented by Little General and Valley Distributing.
All right, Coach, you guys are back from Christmas break. How do you think the guys look? You haven't seen them yet, but what do you think they got out of the break, a little bit of rest and relaxation?
Well, one of the things that I like about Division II basketball is this break that we get in the middle of our season. I think it's important for a lot of reasons. I think it's important to get the players around their family, get them back home, relax a little bit, get off their feet. So I think physically and mentally, it's a great break for them. I said at the last show that this is a good break for us for a lot of reasons. I think there was some fatigue. Obviously, the injuries were building up. So hopefully, we'll find out here in the next 5 days if we're a little bit more healthy. And we'll start practice today. Today will be our first practice after 9 days off, so we're pretty excited about that.
Right. You look back at the Baylor Mine game. What did you see out of that? Obviously, they kind of took it to you guys. What did you see that you can build on the second half of the season?
Well, we wanted to play those guys for a variety of reasons. I have great respect for their program and what Coach Davenport's done. They're a top 5, top 10 team in the country. They're really, really good, really skilled. So I think we can learn from that. Now we're in the conference play. This is when, the scouting reports really come into play, because I think there's 10 tapes out there on us. They'll be able to see our strengths, be able to see our weaknesses. So this is an exciting time. But I think to take from that game is their ability to pass the basketball. I think it really taught our guys a lesson on ball movement. They passed the ball unbelievable. And that's really what I took from that game is, if you can get 5 guys on the floor that can pass, catch, shoot, you got a chance to be pretty good.
Right. So what did you tell your guys after that game heading into this Christmas break?
I told them, thank God we got this break coming up. I think it's good for you guys. I think it's good for our staff. I think it's good for everybody. But the exciting thing is we still have 18 more games. This season is a long, long season. I think a lot of people, I'm sure, have counted us out. We're 2 games behind, the leaders in our conference, but there's a lot of things that are going to happen here in the next 18 games.
You guys opened the second half of the season with the team Urbana, greatly improved from last year. I think last year they didn't win any games. They've already tripled or quadrupled that this year already. What do you see out of them?
Rob Summers, their coach, is a good friend of mine. He's done a great job with that program. They've played a great schedule. They've played West Liberty, Wright State. So I think Rob learned a lot of that from Coach Beeline, and I'm sure Coach Huggins, his teams are going to play people. So I really respect that. They can score the basketball. They're top 10 in the country in scoring offense, averaging 90 points a game. So they definitely got some firepower.
You mentioned that West Liberty game. They took him into overtime. Have you been able to watch that film yet?
We will start breaking that down today. We've watched 3 or 4 of the other games that they've played. Haven't watched that particular game, but that just shows you, you go get 138 points or whatever they scored. They can score the ball in a variety of ways.
Right. Just seeing how that program has grown over just the course of the past year, what can you take away from that in terms of showing your guys like, hey, just this team was here last year and now they're here this year?
Well, I think anytime a team takes West Liberty to overtime, that gets our guys' attention. At this point, every team needs to get our attention because we've got 5 losses. So I don't think that that'll come into play. I think our guys understand the impact of each and every game.
Right. So moving forward in the second half of the season, what do you think is the biggest thing you guys need to work on?
We've got to be a little bit more consistent. You could say, yeah, we have to rebound the ball better. We can't turn the ball over. There's, a few different things. But I think overall we have to be more consistent in what we're doing on the court. I think we play hard. I don't think that's a problem. But I think it's sometimes throughout the game we have lulls. We also have a lack of concentration. But we've been in every game. There really hasn't been a game other than Bellarmine in Glenville State, to a certain extent, that we've been blown out of the water. So I think if our guys can clean some things up, hopefully we'll know today how Thomas is feeling, how Jamel's feeling. That'll really impact the direction we're going to go as those guys' health, because those 2 guys are all league players that we need to be on the court.
Right. Towards the end of the first half of the season, a couple of the guys were saying after the game stuff, the senior leadership was lacking a little bit. What are you expecting out of those seniors in the second half?
That's a good point. But I think it comes from everybody. I think it comes from the top with me. all the way down to everybody. I don't think you need one guy to lead. I think you need a group of individuals. Of course, the seniors are always going to take the brunt of it because this was their final hurrah. But, you know, I've got to do a better job leading this team and finding which lineups and finding different things that'll work. Because we're not that far off. You know, that's the encouraging thing. I think sometimes you get in these lulls and it just kind of plagues you throughout the season. We don't want to get into that. We want to get back to business and winning a few games. We got to get that taste of winning, and then it becomes contagious.
All right. I know last year at this time, like you said, the last time we were together, you guys had a really crucial stretch, a couple of different top league games. Do you guys have a stretch like that this year?
I think this is the stretch now, man. I think we'll find out what direction we're going to go in these next 5 games. You know, we got 2 at home, Saturday, Monday, then you go 3 on the road, and then you got West Liberty in here after that. So I really believe we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks what direction we're going to go.
Right before the break, you guys were able to add another player to your roster. Talk about him and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, we added a young man from London, England. First time I've ever experienced a kid coming in at mid-semester and playing and being eligible. It was a learning experience. This whole year has been a big learning experience, I think, in a lot of ways, different things throughout our team. But Taiwo Badmus is a tremendous kid. We recruited him back, you know, in May and June and tried to get him over then. But it finally worked out. We were able to get him over here. He gets off a plane. He practices for 48 hours, gets on a bus ride, doesn't know his teammates' names. We throw him in the game. He gets 6 points, 6 rebounds. So I think this young man is going to be a good player. I think he has an unbelievable amount of talent. But I think he's a great person. I think he's a kid that'll listen, wants to get better, loves basketball. And he's happy to be in the United States. You know, he's only been here twice, so he's excited, and our players are excited. And I think it gave us a little pep in our step, you know, going forward.
Sure. And he's a true sophomore, right? So he'll have 2 more years after.
Yeah, he'll play this semester, and then he'll have 2 more years. So he'll be part of that great sophomore class with Caleb, Thomas Winbush, and some of those kids.
How big is it for him to be able to have 2 more years left, to be able to gel? Where most guys, the sophomore class now has been gelling for about 1.5 years, so he'll get
yeah, better. I think, you know, he'll definitely, you know, have to spend a lot of time with his teammates. I've really told our guys we got to do a great job here all this week, spending time with him, making him feel comfortable off the court. But on the court, it's just going to be a huge learning curve every day. He's learning different things. You know, we were playing at Bellarmine. He goes into the warm-ups and dunks the ball. I had no idea that you're not allowed to dunk the basketball. Then he had no idea that 7 fouls was 1-on-1. So, you know, it's almost like teaching a kid that you had at basketball camp. So every day we're working on different things with him, but it's fun. You know, that's why you get into the business, and I think he's a great kid that's going to get better.
So in terms of the other guys that came in this past off season, how have you seen their transition from the beginning of the season until now, halfway through? Yeah,
I think Trent Elliott, some of those freshmen, R.J. Hutcherson, those 2 guys that are playing, the other 2 that are redshirting, they might be the most improved guys in our program that nobody will ever hear about. Vontae Montgomery and Brad Carton, those 2 kids have been tremendous. And if we knew that some of the injuries were going to come into play, we probably would have played those guys. But it's not fair to them at this point in the game after 10 games to jeopardize that redshirt year. But we're pretty pleased with that freshman class. They're getting better. It hasn't been easy. You know, it's been a lot of growing pains. Anytime you lose 5 games in your program and you're not used to losing, you know, those guys have had to grow up, and I think they've done a pretty good job.
I know at the beginning of the season, I think you mentioned that if Nick goes out and doesn't get 15 points, 10 rebounds, that's kind of I guess, an average night for him. How have you seen him progress in terms of his abilities?
Well, he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. He's had about 4 games where he's gotten over 15 points. If you look at his bad games, most of those bad games are caused by foul trouble. We didn't want to play him. It was more that he couldn't play because of the fouls. So if he's going to have good games, he's got to stay out of foul trouble. And that's really got to be disciplined. You know, the last 18 games, he's got to show great discipline on the court and stay on the courts, and I think that those things will fall into place.
And going with Thomas Winbush and Jamel Morris, both of those guys coming back off of injuries, how beneficial do you think this break was for them?
Well, we'll see how they do. Thomas isn't going to practice today because he's getting fitted for an orthotic in his shoe. But Jamel will go today. I hope that those 9 days really help those two guys. It's tough when you're battling those injuries. I think from a mental standpoint, I think both those two were mentally exhausted. They pushed through a lot of stuff. I think our staff was frustrated, not at them, but just with the injuries itself. So hopefully they'll come back ready to go and feeling better.
Right. Second half of the season is always geared towards making a run at the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the big thing is just to win games. Other than that, what's one thing your team has to do to make that run?
I would say play together, play smart, and play discipline. You can't really pinpoint rebounding or turning the ball over because it's been every game one thing's kind of plagued us. So I would say those three things could really help us to get to where we want to go.
What's the ceiling for you guys second half of the season, you think?
I think it'll be determined by our attitude, and our willingness to really get down and work. The next 3 weeks, there's no school, so there's a lot of time to get in the gym. Their minds are strictly on basketball. I think we got a great ceiling. It's all about our chemistry. It's all about our health. That's probably number one, and then chemistry's number two. And then we've got to be really disciplined to quit fouling people and get teams off the foul line.
So first off, Tyler, how's it been coming to Fairmont State for a couple of weeks now?
Well, it's a good experience. It's different to London. People are friendly out here. I've been welcomed, and I think it's been a good experience.
Talk about the last weekend, or 2 weekends ago now. Got on a plane, got off the plane, got on a bus, and ended up in Fairmont and played in the game. How was that experience for you?
It's different. It's different to the way we play in London. The tempo's a bit quicker. I wasn't really that confident because it was my first game, but I liked it. It was good. Looking forward to the next game.
Good. So what was it like playing on the court with the guys from Fairmont? You didn't even know their name when you showed up, and just get out there and play with them.
Well, they welcomed me, so they were quite friendly too. So I felt really welcomed. I like playing with them.
Right. Talk a little bit about your time in London and what your basketball background is a little bit for someone who might not know.
Well, I started playing basketball when I was about 16, 17, and I've played for about 4 years now. I played for a team. I played Division 1 in London called NASA. Played with them for like 1 season.
When you were thinking about coming to America to play basketball, what kind of options were you thinking of that you had?
Well, I didn't really have a lot of options. I wanted to come out here and play better competition because the competition in London is good, but it's not as at high level as it is here.
Right. You talk about wanting to play good competition. You come in your first games against a top 5 team in Division 2. What was it like playing against those guys?
They were a good team. They passed the ball really well. Their offense was quite structured. They were a good team.
So what are you looking forward to most, you think, during this next semester and next 2 years playing at Fairmont?
Well, I want to become the best player I can be and hopefully win a championship or a couple. Yeah.
Tune in to timeswv.com on your computer or mobile device every Thursday at 7 p.m. for a new episode of the Coach Calhoun Show presented by Little General and Valley Distributing.